Huge amount of DeFi updates in the Cardano ecosystem. This episode, I'll be looking at everything that is going on across the multiple different DEXs and DeFi protocols on the Cardano blockchain. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debate.
Hey, and thank you for stopping by. I'm Peter Buey. This is the Learn Cardano podcast, where I talk everything around the Cardano ecosystem. If this is your first time here, please consider giving me that thumbs up, subscribe, and click that notification bell, and you get more and more updates around the Cardano ecosystem and a couple of projects on the fringes as well that are bridging and connecting into the Cardano blockchain. And the very first one I have here is Spectrum Finance. So Spectrum is building on the Ergo blockchain. That's where they originated, but they're bridging over using the Rosen Bridge and all sorts of different mechanisms to get over to the Cardano ecosystem as well. They're both UTXO blockchains, and being so makes it quite compatible for the two blockchains to be able to talk to each other. Now, Spectrum Finance are going through their IDO process at the moment. This is a fairly good DEX from what I've been playing around with. If you're interested in going through the IDO and purchasing some of these tokens, you can do so. They've gone through their community round, which is already complete. They sold 64% of their tokens, and now they're going through the public round as well. So it would have been a little bit more expensive for the public, but it's just started in that process. So you can go through and purchase those tokens if you want to be a part of the Spectrum Finance ecosystem. It's more than just a DEX. They're going to build out a whole bunch of things for their platform and ecosystem in general. Now, I personally don't go through IDOs because you do have to go through a KYC process, and I just find them so annoying. But eventually, one day when we have self-sovereign identities proliferated through the Cardano ecosystem and a really easy way to one-stop shop set up one of your IDs and then go through these IDOs afterwards, that'll be a lot easier. Otherwise, you have to go through these things over and over again. Now, another project that I absolutely love. Now, this is a bit of an old article from AADA Finance. It goes through the entire bond process. Now, this is it was released during the holiday period, so come on, I didn't quite keep on top of everything while trying to take a break. But they gave a brilliant tutorial here and use case of how the bond works and how you can sell your bond on a secondary marketplace. So you can take out a loan, you have that bond, and you can sell and trade that, liquidate that at any point in time. So if you're interested in learning about how those mechanics works, how you can sell your AADA Finance bond on a secondary marketplace, please go through this overview tutorial and use case here. It's absolutely brilliant, and it's really good that they bring out some of those educational pieces so that you guys out there in the community can understand and learn how to actually use them properly. So have a look over that. Links down below for you in the show notes. This one here is TeddySwap. Now, if you haven't heard, they're building a decentralized exchange on Cardano, very similar to the approach that MinSwap took with their Fair ISO. You can find out details about that in my previous video where I talked about the latest ISPOs in the Cardano ecosystem. But if you're interested in finding more about the DEX, they give regular updates. The team is quite transparent and good in regards to everything around that. I did do an interview with Mikkel as well. You can find that in the show notes. He was the one that created PluTS, the TypeScript version of Cardano's smart contracts. So you can write smart contracts in TypeScript, write the front end of a website in TypeScript as well. So it's a very similar language across the front and back end as well. So you do your front end code in TypeScript, and then your smart contract code in TypeScript as well. So it's really cool that what they're doing there, and it's a very good team behind the project overall. Now, the really cool thing about what they're doing is they've actually got a working front-end UI. So not just screenshots, an actual working UI, so you can actually play around with it and get familiar with it and actually see what they're building out. So it's very similar to some of the other DEXs in the Cardano ecosystem. So I don't know if they're borrowing code or if they're writing from scratch. Are they writing it all in TypeScript as well? I'd love to find out more, and I'm sure I'll get the guys on a interview at some point in time. Now, one project that I absolutely love, I've been following VyFinance from day one. This is one project I did go through the KYC process for, and I purchased the tokens during their ICO. I can't remember when. I think it was in 2021. They're one project that actually convinced me to actually hand over my details for this. Now, they are going to finally launch their platform on testnet. So once they launch, I'm going to crawl through it deeply and find out exactly how it all works. I'm pretty excited about this one. I've seen teasers of the wireframed version of the DEX for a very long time, but this is going to be a lot more polished, a lot more visually appealing as well. So I'm pretty excited about finding out exactly how this one will work. Now, I've done a whole bunch of interviews with Stephen from VyFinance as well. You can find them in the playlist. There's a specific playlist for VyFinance. You can find that on the YouTube channel too. Now, they have gone through a process of looking at how they're going to allocate the farming rewards. So when a DEX launches, they always have these farming rewards to entice people into their ecosystem. So you provide liquidity onto their DEX, and then you get farming rewards, usually in the VyFi token itself. Now, they have gone through a process of working out what is best based off how the ecosystem is at the moment. So they've identified a problem with a lot of liquidity in that there is not much of liquidity that's paired to the USD, mainly because we haven't had USD tokens or USD stable coins within the Cardano ecosystem until just recently. So they're going to offer an not extra, but 19% of the total farming rewards for these particular pairs. So any of the pairs like VyFi and USD, they're going to provide an allocation of those farming rewards for those particular token pairs. So if you're interested, if you have liquidity and you are willing to provide it at the early stages of a protocol launch, you'll be able to get those bonus VyFi tokens at that very early stage. So it's quite appealing for a lot of people. So check that one out. You can also have a look at their emissions as well. So emissions have been a big topic within the Cardano ecosystem at the moment, with other projects, people realizing how much tokens are being going through emissions at the moment. So they put a point here of how many tokens are circling at the moment. You've got the 13 million or so tokens, and then after a year of emissions, we'll get another 17.2 million VyFi tokens in emission, with a 30.3 million VyFi tokens after 1 year of farming. So essentially just over doubling the amount of tokens out there. So they've gone through that, they've analyzed it and worked out the best emissions for that particular token, so that it doesn't affect the ecosystem too much. So have a look at that article, links down below for you in the show notes. Now, talking about emissions, we'll get into that in a second, but this one here, Liqwid Finance, has been one of those projects that the ecosystem, the Cardano community, have been waiting for quite a long time. So Liqwid had a lot of support during Project Catalyst, all the way from the very, very early days. I can't remember when they started in Project Catalyst. It maybe have Fund 2 or Fund 3, so very early stages. The community has been quite excited about it, especially with the multiple ways that you can earn on your AADA. So there's up to 6, or I think it was 6 ways that you can earn on top of your yield, multiple different facets within their protocol. But they've finally launched, but there's a couple of hiccups. And, with anything that launches for the first time on new innovative technology, there's bound to be some sort of hiccups. Now, here the team are actually going through a collective Zappin event. So they're building that liquidity bootstrapping event and going through and determining the price for this new amount of LQ tokens that are going out to the community. So you can potentially buy in at a lower price by providing liquidity at this point on the MinSwap DEX. So you can find out more information about that on that link there, or go to the MinSwap website itself and then look at the liquidity bootstrapping events and then participate within the protocol that way. Now, with the addition of the extra liquidity that will be in the ecosystem, that means more liquid tokens will be around as well, which is plummeting the price. Now, one of the really important things to look at is the value of the project with the fully diluted market cap. Now we can see here Vex from Revutu. He says the lower the fully diluted market cap and the more tokens in supply, the better opportunity for the token price to grow. So if it was the other way around, you're probably not in a really good position. And at the moment, the Liqwid team, apparently, from what I've read, the total supply is about 2% and the token price is actually quite high at the moment. And a lot of people have been losing value in their funds. And if you have a look at the token price here, you can see that the token, this was around when the news of the launch of Liqwid was going to happen. So you can see people getting eager, buying up the tokens. And then I believe people worked out that the emissions, there's going to be a lot more tokens in the ecosystem being released, which will plummet the price. And then people cotton on, and hence the price of the tokens gone down at the moment. And then we started the liquidity bootstrapping event there on the 7th. So there will be a lot more tokens, LQ tokens in the ecosystem at the moment. So it will affect this price. So if you're trading this one, watch out. It may go either way, but more likely down than up. Now, if you're like me, I purchased way back here when the token price was around 90 something ADA per LQ token. So, and this was back in the early stages of the bear market as well. So, didn't do too well in that trade, and I sold it around down here. So, don't ever listen to me for trading advice, because obviously I completely stuffed that one up. But the protocol is live. There are some issues at the moment. Now, this one here, it's we do have to check on Twitter for the latest updates around this one. But the team did find a potential vulnerability or something, security flaw on their particular protocol at the moment. They had to pause all actions on the protocol to make sure that they can get this assessed and fixed. Now, they've gone through the process of working it out and fixing it at the moment. Now, they did mention on their Twitter account here that they have this fail-safe method, precaution of a multi-sig transaction. Now, we don't know who else has access to this multi-sig transaction process, but it's a good thing that they did have this in place to ensure that something like this wouldn't happen, and they could stop it if needed. But it'd be great to have some transparency around that so we can find out exactly who else or other teams have control over the protocol too. Now, they have gone through and done a fix. They've said that their on-chain and off-chain contract updates have been written, and the devs are now preparing the multi-sig transaction for the preview market now. So they're almost there in the fix. Now, the team also have said that the fix has been approved by their auditors, so we should see the protocol back up and running very soon. And I'll be doing a little bit more of a deep dive to try and understand exactly what we can do with the protocol and potentially participate in their DeFi ecosystem. Now, Wingriders is doing really well at the moment, and they're really driving in the liquidity for these really important trading pairs here. And these are like the stable coins. These are the really big tokens at the moment that we should have a lot of liquidity of, including IBTC, JED, stablecoin, Shen, the reserve coin, IUSD, the Indigo version of the stablecoin, and then also their stable swap between JED and IUSD. So the more liquidity that is built up around these stable assets, the more popular assets, it's really important that we do have them in the Cardano ecosystem so that we can have better liquidity to trade against. So it's really good that the team are pushing this and getting more liquidity on there. I believe the rewards are quite nice, and having the stable swap pool is really good too, in that there's a lot less fees that go through that particular swap if you're swapping between JED and IUSD. So you can see here the TVL across that. This is a little bit more of an updated graphic from the team as well. So it's good to actually see that too. Now, I did do a video interview with Karan as well in regards to their stable swap pool, and also a couple of their new features on their decks as well. So if you haven't seen that one, please check that one out. Now, the SundaeSwap team have been a little bit more quiet lately, and this is because they're so concentrated on building the governance protocol for their platform. They're doing some really cool things around it. They've built their own layer 2 solution called Vladium. Now, this allows them to tally up all the votes and then collate them within their Vladium solution, that layer 2, and then bring that back onto the main chain afterwards. So they're collecting all of the transactions for the voting and the governance process, and then putting that back on chain at a later date and later time. This reduces fees. We're not seeing hundreds and hundreds of transactions on chain just for voting. They're doing it on the L2 solution and then bring it back to the main chain. Now, I did do an interview with Pi about this as well back in, I think it was December, and he talks about how that whole governance solution works. You can find that in the top right hand corner there. Now, they also did a video overview with Andrew Westberg on his channel, Nerd Out, where they really deep dive into that. So if you really want to understand the mechanics behind it, please check that one out too. Now, moving over to the MinSwap team. Now, these guys are seriously kicking goals. It is by far the most popular DEX on the Cardano ecosystem. Having all that liquidity there makes it really good and easier to trade too. Now, if you look at these stats, so 100 million AADA monthly volume, over 100 million, over 37 million weekly volume, and a cumulative volume of the 265 million US dollars across their deck. So that is absolutely amazing to see. And it's really good that the DEX and the Cardano ecosystem is growing for around this. So, you know, I did say this year was going to be an explosive year for Cardano DeFi, and we're really starting to see it at the moment. Now, we can see here also AADA Whale mentioned that, yesterday was their highest trading since a year ago, since launch, with 11 million AADA being traded against on their DEX. But actually, that record was broken. It wasn't 11 million. If you check the live stats on their website here, let me try and get that there. 13.08 million AADA traded on their DEX on the 7th of Feb. Now, that was also when the Liqwid Finance was doing their LBE. So maybe that was partially part of that as well. We also saw AGX have a really good bull run as well. So there's a lot of activity. If we scroll down a little bit, you can see the queues for some of these trading pairs. These I haven't seen these numbers in quite a long time. You can see here on AGX, it was 126 orders in the queue at the moment. Down here, Shen, 140 orders. Gens tokens, so a lot of these, I don't think, some of them are out of range. Not many though, but the 216 orders there in place, and a little bit of liquidity there. So it's really good to see that this is all growing. A lot of people using the DEX in general, so it's absolutely amazing. Now, the MinSwap team do these awesome updates on a regular basis in regards to their total activity and volume across their platform and ecosystem, and it's really good to see this visually at the end of every month and then compare it to how it was as well. So if you haven't seen this, please check them out. It's really good to see these stats in the Cardano ecosystem grow. Now, if you are yield farming on the MinSwap DEX, you'll see that a lot of these yield farms, the dynamic yield rewards for them are changing. They always change. It's a constant change across the ecosystem as they rebalance across the different pools as the ecosystem grows. So keep an eye out for these changes. You may need to, or you may want to, reposition your farming positions so that you're getting the maximum amount of rewards that you can through their farming, their yield farms. Now, I also wanted to give a shout out to Fluid Tokens. They're really cool. They're doing collateralized loans using your NFTs. So if you have an NFT that has a really good floor price, been holding that floor price for quite a while, you can use that as collateral for your loan, so you can take out something else for another asset, whether it's AADA, you can take it out, you can stake that AADA, earn those AADA rewards, or you can take out USD and exit that on an exchange and then buy something with it, whatever it is. Of course, you do have to pay your loan back at some point in time, but it's a way that you can actually use those crypto assets that you've purchased, all those NFTs, so that you can do something with it rather than just holding it in your wallet. So it's a really cool platform. Absolutely love it. But they're going through an ISPO very, very soon. So if you love those type of ISPOs where you can delegate to a pool and earn some of these tokens, they're almost there to start theirs up. Now, it's taken a long time for them to get to this point, and it's all around the legal aspects of issuing a token. They wanted to make sure that this token that they're issuing is good, is compliant, can be used around the world, and has longevity. Last thing you want to do is launch a token, then have the SEC ban it across multiple different jurisdictions, and you won't be able to use it. The token project goes under because of launching your token incorrectly, and it's seen as security or whatever it is. So it's really good that they went through that process, a very long process. They have a working product. They have everything out there in the ecosystem already. Now they're launching the token. Very good way of doing it. So absolutely love what these guys are doing. Keep an eye out for it. Now, not to forget the MuesliSwap team, the first DEX to have launched on the Cardano ecosystem. They've got a couple of updates in regards to their farms. They also have a Shen and Jed farm as well. So if you've got those particular tokens, those stablecoins, you can provide liquidity onto the MuesliSwap DEX as well for those particular pairs. So diversify, maybe try out all the different platforms, see what you like the best, and work out how you're going to position yourself in this growing Cardano ecosystem. Now, last few things I'd like to shout out. Rare Evo, they're selling their tickets very soon on the 12th of Feb. You'll be able to get their tickets. Let's see what the ticket price is there. I can't remember what it was, but Rare Evo is used to be Rare Bloom. They're the slightly more expensive ticket price here. So you got the VIP ticket here for $800, but general admission $150. So it's not too bad. There are a lot of competitions and giveaways as well, so you may be lucky and get a free ticket. I have to say this event was absolutely amazing. The venue itself at Gaylord's Rockies in Colorado is absolutely stunning. It is on the more expensive side. If you just have a look at some of the pictures here, it is absolutely amazing. Now, if you're traveling there, it's really close to the airport. The airport's here on the map. I'm giving you some travel advice. So you land at the airport here, and it's a real quick Uber ride. You have to go all the way around this way and then enter down this little entrance here, and then it will take you to the Gaylord's Rocky Mountain Resort there. So it's a really good and convenient area. Now there is cheaper accommodation all along this street here on Tower Road. So if you're not wanting to stay at Gaylord's for the slightly more expensive price, you can go cheap and stay around here. And there's lots of really good food places down here as well. So I ate at Ruby's, I ate at a Vietnamese restaurant down here. I didn't try any McDonald's in the US, but I think I should try it next time I'm there. I will be there. I will be trying to get to Rare Bloom. Now, the other event is also CNFTCon as well in Las Vegas. This was a lot of fun. Their tickets are on sale at the moment. There's a general admission ticket for $40, and then you get the more expensive packs here. Now, for $120, you get all the extra premium swag. It's all about the swag at these events. I came home, I had to go out and buy a brand new suitcase. I spent way too much on this suitcase and to bring all the swag home. If you see some of the photos I posted up on Twitter, it's just chock-a-block full of swag. All the different projects giving away all their merchandise and stuff. So it's really cool to get some of this stuff. You do have to get a t-shirt and an enamel pin. It's just a given. So check that one out. All the tickets are on sale here. It's a slight discount here from $160 to $120 and $1,000 for the diamond package, down to $600 at the moment. So they do have those discounts. Again, they do ticket giveaways too. So that's it for me for this round of DeFi updates in the Cardano ecosystem, all the news and everything that is happening at the moment. There is so much happening. It's really hard to keep up. I could literally do an update every single day for you guys. But there's so much happening. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, if you got something out of it, please give me that thumbs up. Click that subscribe button, click the notification bell, and you'll hear more Cardano related news and updates as soon as it comes out. And I'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debate.